First of all, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, giving your time into this. And I'm reading this thing like speaks a little bit of French, and McGill University sounds like Montreal, maybe a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm Montrealer all day.
Oh, really? We're in Montreal now, so that's this is where we're based.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Saint Henry.
Saint Henri.
Yeah, Saint Henry. There you go. You got the pronunciation and everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm actually half Quebecois.
Oh, there you go.
If Montreal were not 5 hours away, because we do our development in Vancouver.
Okay.
And Vancouver is pretty boring.
Yeah, our clients are in LA, so I get to I get to fly over there quite a lot. It is a little bit of a long flight, but you know what? I kind of appreciate it. It's this sort of moment where there's no girlfriend, there's no kids, there's no employees, there's no clients. The invention that I hate the most is that you can get fucking Wi-Fi on the plane now. And anytime you do, you're like, what am I doing? Like, this was my moment. This was my little bubble, and now I screwed it up. So I actually, I will always pretend that it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, if Montreal was 2 hours, we would be developing in Montreal. Yeah. And we keep discussing it because there's good tech in Montreal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we do get the benefit of having this reputation of being a cool cross section or intersection between technology and arts and design because of all the video game companies and stuff like that are here, and a lot of tech talent. So that's why we decided to put together a shop that was going to be product strategy, product design and prototyping, and software development. So because it is kind of that intersection that Montreal's brand is really good for. So like I was saying, the reason I started this podcast actually is that I love getting beyond the sort of, you talk innovation to startups. That's what they need to do, right? That's their whole like day to day. I'm more interested in people that have an existing business and that are now faced with the challenge of having to innovate within that business and, through the distractions that come with actually running this business. Yeah, go ahead.
Hold that thought, because you just hit me at the perfect time, right?
Okay.
We're struggling big time right now with innovation.
Okay.
We're bringing out, a new product. We have competition now. It's chasing us around in the market.
Yep.
All sorts of stuff. So where do you want to start? Because the other thing that I also find with a lot of startups is, everyone wants to, well, there's a few things. One is everyone wants to run out and be the next groovy, innovative place and all that sort of stuff. And so I had an ad agency before this, right?
Right.
Well, going way back, I was a fashion photographer in Canada for many years.
Okay.
So around the whole, marketing stuff, and then I opened an ad agency. I had a lot of work that was showing up in, say, Time Canada and all the posters all over the Globe and Mail and all sorts of stuff all over Canada. And then one of my clients, because I started writing headlines for them, we opened a design firm in San Francisco, design advertising agency. Then we went through the whole .com thing. We watched all these .com guys with way too much money. I could always tell a .com that was going to fail when I walked in and I saw that everyone had a electric pencil sharpener, a Aran chair, and a brand new Mac.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, not a Mac, a PC. Because the Mac guys are way smarter, the PC guys not so much. And so they were doomed, right?
Yeah.
The guys that you walked in and they're working off the cardboard box and they're just super passionate and they're there to produce a product for a reason. And you have to have a reason why, like why you're doing this. If you look at Branson or any of these guys, the reason they create companies, they don't get up in the morning to say, oh, I want to make a lot of money. They get up in the morning because they say, I see this problem, this niche in the market I want to solve, whether it be records for my friends, the way to produce something, or I'm stuck in an airport and I rally 100 customers and we charter a plane to get somewhere, and wow, that's way cheaper and we should do that, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a reason why you do it. So then you start innovating, and some of these guys go, oh yeah, we just want to innovate. Well, that's not going to get you that far without sales. There's other companies that I've seen other people lose it because they spend too much time trying to get perfect, right? They maybe they spend all their money on legal, setting up a company, and they have nothing left to, say, develop.
Right.
Or they spend all their time trying to make the perfect product before they roll out the door. And, I always call it putting something out in the wild. You can try and think something to the 100th degree. It's never going to be perfect.
Yep.
And so I've always been a big fan of get it out in the wild as fast as you can.
Right.
Right. Get it as right as use all your experience, all your intuition, everything you have, and then get it out in the market.
Right. Do you believe the old saying that if you're not a little bit ashamed of your version 1, that you waited too long to get it out?
I've not heard that saying, but I would totally agree.
Yeah.
Our version 1 was like alpha.
Yeah.
But
you still got it in front of customers. You still got the market validation. You still got the feedback of like, not just you looking at the thing that you're trying to create without any sort of external feedback.
Yeah. I call it when the dogs are willing to eat the dog food.
Okay.
Step 1, when the dogs are willing to eat the dog food and pay for the dog food, winning.
Right.
So, you put a product out into market and, oh yeah, lots of people go, oh yeah, this is really great. It's great. Okay. So we're going to start sending you an invoice for that.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I've seen guys have no customers overnight.
Yeah.
And that's how we knew we had a product, because people were like, no problem. Can't wait. This is cheap. Love it. Let's go. Does this make sense?
Yeah. I've lived through the opposite of that as well. Like we kind of do this for a living. We partner up with companies that are trying to get that next version out the window, and they are having a hard time because they're getting distracted with the current business, with the need to satisfy the current customers and the fires and stuff like that. And so we usually develop version 1 for them. And I've seen this happen when, we release it, customers go in, and then you say, all right, we're going to turn on the pricing. And then you figured you're going to lose 50%, but you lose 95%, right? Mm-hmm. Drastic drop. It seems logical that you would do it this way, but then I've seen, and I've been involved in projects where that blew up in our face. Like we said, we're just going to get out and we're going to see who uses it. And then when you turn on the monetization scheme, it blows up in our face. What does that mean to you? Like the problem we're solving is not painful enough?
Yeah, it sounds like it. Like maybe the product is not, solving enough of a problem, right?
Have you read Nail It Then Scale It? Kind of under the radar. I feel a better written Lean Startup. Everybody read Lean Startup by Eric Ries, but it feels like no one's ever read Nail It Then Scale It. And he basically says, and it's like super sexy. The book is ugly. There's no images, but the stories in there have to do with like nail the problem, nail the solution, nail the go-to-market, nail the business model in that order. And I've always kind of felt like I've wanted to go back there. Like, did I nail the problem? Did I really understand it? And what I found is when we turn on the monetization and users disappear, it's usually because we didn't nail the problem. Like we went to the go-to-market, but we had never really validated that we had solved an actual problem that was at least an 8 out of 10 on the pain scale type of thing.
Right. And I also think that the world has changed. And this is something that people forget a lot, right? The time doesn't really stop, and the universe changes. So, maybe 20 years ago, we could get away with putting out a product that maybe had a lot of problems, right?
Right.
But nowadays, everyone is their level of expectation around UI, UX.
Right.
Or Uber app or whatever, your expectation is an Uber app. And if you don't give them that, they're like, well, what the hell is this? Like, forget it. So I think the universe has changed a lot, and you can't get away with things today that you could have maybe years ago.
Yeah. So, something that I'm trying to really get out of these conversations are these little nuggets of wisdom that we're acquired through a lot of pain, it feels like a lot of times. And I kind of want to repeat what you just said, that you feel like there's probably, I'm paraphrasing, but there's probably a couple of places where you don't have to be perfect on your version 1, where you're a little bit ashamed of something, but don't fuck around with UX, right? Make sure that experience
is good.
Is good.
But I'm also saying, you could have got away with stuff years ago, and now everyone's expectation is higher, right? Like, 20 years, geez, when we first started, we were building something that would work on a modem, on a 2400, 4800 baud modem.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The internet was infant. People weren't banking online. People were terrified to put their data online. We're asking them for patient data online, right?
Right.
And I always think it's kind of like the ketchup story. When Heinz built ketchup years ago, came out of the bottle really slow, and they're like, oh shit, what are we going to do? And then they've kind of flipped that on its head and said, the whole commercial around anticipation.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I remember that.
And so for us, we had, we're going on the internet. This is really terrifying for people. And then we turned it around to, oh man, the snowstorm that just hit the East Coast and nobody could move. Everyone was able to rebook their entire schedules from home. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
We turned around to the customer that was down in Florida. They came to their office on the next day, and it was gone because the hurricane just wiped it out.
Yeah.
They went to Costco, picked a computer, opened up at Starbucks, and they didn't miss a beat. Yeah. They didn't lose their data. They didn't lose anything. They're rolling. So, we were able to change the narrative on some of those stories.
Interesting.
But, and then I think nowadays, the place we're in is that we just turned around, we rebuilt our software from the ground up.
Yeah.
And we probably should have just retweaked our original software.
Okay.
But now we're changing the engine again. It's kind of like Salesforce, right? Salesforce did their second version, totally screwed the pooch, and then they start over. And we're in that same spot.
Facebook mobile as well. There's a couple of stories like that. Yeah.
And even with all the smartest people, and that's the other thing that I hate, the people that you have in the startup are hackers and get it done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how are we going to do this? We're just going to go. And then as you get bigger, you start adding product owners and product managers and whatever, and there's meetings and there's all this committees and shit. And I just lose my mind. I'm like, are you serious? And then as far as committees, there's never a monument made to a committee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's coming really apparent to me is you need really great leadership, and finding a leader in an engineering team is like a needle in a haystack. They're far and few between in engineers. It's really weird.
Yeah. Well, if I can share an observation, one thing that I think is one of my core principles is I think that like the biggest two teams that have the hardest time understanding each other are the engineering team and the business team, right? Mm-hmm. Because the business team is like, you're not here to deliver tickets to us. You're here to deliver this business solution. It's about what we're trying to accomplish with our customers. And then usually the engineering team looks at the business team and like, you guys don't know what you want. You're adapting way too much. Like you're sacrificing on the altar of agility, the rigor in figuring out exactly what it is that you want. And there's like, both of them are right. And I do find, and also I want to connect to your comment about UX, is that I find like really investing in two things. First of all is really deep, high fidelity prototyping practices. Because when developers and business people talk at each other, it's difficult to get something done, versus when all of us turn our heads toward the prototype, it's a lot easier to figure out, all right, this is what we're trying to accomplish. This is what we're trying to deliver. And the business people will look at the prototype and start thinking, my client's going to love this. And the engineering people are looking at the prototype are saying, well, if I want that button to work, I need to get these things to work. And so the prototyping and the sort of, I've found in my experience that design leadership was actually a better way of harmonizing the relationship between business and engineering. And the second thing is,
by the way, I just want to totally agree with what you just said.
Okay.
100%. Love that.
And then the second thing would be, making sure that all of your back end and your front end are really neatly separated by a really good abstraction layer, like a really good API. That means that if there's something that needs to happen on the back end because we're trying to move from generation A to generation B, nothing of that shows in front of the API because the client is still getting the same calls that it always got. And then behind that, all the mess can happen. I think they call that an anti-corruption layer. If you look it up, it sounds really intense, but if you Google that, you're gonna kind of find it. Like, so anything legacy or whatever, as long as it happens behind the that anti-corruption layer, gets sanitized, and so the client on the front end doesn't have to feel like they're sitting on the back of the bus, getting shaken all over the place. Kind of find like that progressing through that. If you had these two things in place, you're going to be able to save a lot of
which is interesting because right now we're prototyping that's basically a new engine, and it's a lot of off-the-shelf stuff, right? Two-factor authentication, SSO, whatever that is, that we can use within the framework. So we're a LAMP stack shop, right? So PHP, and we have using Laravel as much as possible, and get the hell out of the customization business. So if you have that anti-corruption layer you're talking about, we should be able to say even swap out those packages without the customer even seeing a thing.
So you've been running Cycle for 17 years now. How many generations of that product have you gone through?
We're about to embark on our third.
Okay. And tell me, like, what is the biggest obstacles in moving from one generation to another? Is it technology? Is it people? Is it clients? Is it money?
It's clients.
Clients? Just migrating clients from one solution to another?
Exactly. So I think our next generation is around, we're starting with the migration path first.
Okay.
And then so they'll be able to flip between different products with a click of a switch, because that migration path is really hard.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is that clients use, say, your original software, they get very used to it. And then
with its flaws and its, idiosyncrasies and stuff like that.
But everything, right?
Yeah.
You give them something brand new and shiny and they go, yeah, but where's that thing?
Yeah.
Really? That thing?
Yeah.
And it's like, it was pointless. Like, 20 customers used it, and it's kind of a stupid thing.
Do you do like pilot programs, or is the biggest thing to allow them to flip the switch when they want to? That's like the psychological thing where they feel that they've had the choice to. It's like Gmail, right? When Gmail came out with their new version, it would tell you, hey, there's a new version. Let me know when you're ready. And then you would hit that and you would flip over to the new one. But you're still like getting emails. It's just like a UI change.
Exactly. A UI change for us is a lot bigger changes because, let's say in our first version, we have features, lets you do, I don't know, financing and credit card processing and, think 10 of those things.
Right.
And so we have customers that maybe only use half of those. So we say, okay, the 5 that you use, we've already built in our new product. You're ready to go.
Okay.
The next guy is using feature number 6. No, you can't go until we finish that feature. So there was that. There were a bunch of things. So I think we did a fantastic job on the UI and the UX, and we did a terrible job on the migration.
Okay. Just in terms of the psychology of your client and managing the change management process at their place.
And the data.
Okay.
We screwed that as well because, so for example, in the new product, you might have a field, a preferred name field, that it is expecting alpha characters.
Yep.
But in the old product, people were putting all sorts of crap in that preferred name field. They're putting the phone number of their daughter and whatever random, the credit card, who knows what they were sticking in there.
Yeah.
Frequently there were numbers. So they migrate, they go, where the hell's my numbers?
Thank you so much, man. I have no idea how I'm going to cut this episode and make it into something that resembles what I usually do. But I think it's very interesting because you've been very open and very honest and very generous with your feedback and your story. So thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, if you want to do a different version to it.
No, this is perfect. What I'm looking for is stories. It's just I usually have to coax it out of people. And I usually spend a significant portion of my time just getting people to like come on, don't give me that. We're laser focused on our vision. And it's like, come on, no one's that put together. There's no way that you're not facing any problems trying to, get your new version out to the market. But I've had to do none of that for you. You're like, yeah, no, this is going on. Yeah.
I have a million stories.
Yeah. Cool.
I was holding back.
Yeah. Well, then maybe we'll need to do another one at some point if you'll take the invitation.
Oh, for sure. All
Cool.
right.
All right. Thanks, man.
Hey, listen, a pleasure, man.
Cool.
Okay. Take care.